Welcome back to Business Breakfast in Bedhead. I actually do these live calls on Instagram. I would love for you to come and hang out with me at them. So if you don't already follow me at Dawn Bradley, DAWNBRADLEY, should have made a song about that. Go follow me there because then you can take part in these live calls and can actually chat with me. But if you can't make them, no sweat. Now they're going to be here. So welcome to Business Breakfast in Bedhead. Buckle up, friend, and let's dive in. I overthink, I overshare, and I overanalyze. So come explore with me as I chat about business, life, and relationships, all through the lens of an anxious creative. How to quit emotional discounting. This is going to be a good one today, so I'm so excited, and welcome to Business Breakfast in Bedhead. I'm your host, Dawn Bradley, and we're going to talk live, or if you're watching the replay, about how to quit emotionally discounting. I know it's like an epidemic in the service industry. You get to charging your client, you've listened to their heartfelt stories of where they're at, or maybe, their partner lost their job, or things have been tight, or they're just telling you that they're on a budget and they're trying not to spend money, or whatever it is, and you feel this overwhelming sense of guilt, of duty, of you want to be kind and compassionate, and so you dock $20 off or you dock $40 off, and then you feel frustrated with yourself because you're like, why do I keep doing this? I know this is hurting my bottom line. Hello, Sherry. Hello. And so I'm going to chat with you today about how to quit emotionally discounting without quitting being a caring, empathetic person. And so if that sounds good to you, put a 1 in the chat, because I want to make sure that, one, these lives are something that you're getting benefit out of and that it's going to help you. But before I get into it, I want to remind you guys that this is a safe space and a judgment-free zone where we can show up real, raw, honest, and vulnerable together. The only way that you can feel comfortable and safe to grow is that the only way that you can grow is if you feel safe. And so being in a safe space and a judgment-free zone is really important for me, because we're all coming from different places, we're all in different parts of our journey, and I think we can agree, we all want to develop more skills of confidence without coming across aggressive. And so I love this one, all the ones in the chat. Burgundy's ahead of herself, putting 2 for something else. I love it. So I want to keep this conversational. That's really important to me. And those of you guys that have been here before know that the more you participate in the chat, the more you get out of it, and the more I'm able to help you. And so I want to ask you guys, what is the feeling? What is the emotion? What are the thoughts that go through your mind when you are about to emotionally discount, or when you do emotionally discount? What is going through your head? Is it, I feel bad, I feel obligated? Is it guilt, like I shouldn't be making money when someone's struggling? What are the thoughts and feelings and emotions that go through your head when you emotionally discount? Because if we're going to learn how to quit emotionally discounting, we need to know what's going on behind the scenes for us. So I want you guys to go ahead and put in the chat right now, what is it that you feel or think or assume when you go to emotionally discount? And I got to wait for you guys to respond, because once again, these lives are for you. I come here live. I'm not someone talking on a screen at you. I'm talking with you this morning. And so it's really, really important to me. I also got my 3 drinks here. I've got some tarot cards. Kelly, maybe we want to do a pull that they need it, so that they need the cash, or like they need the more than you need it. And I play devil's advocate a lot, but so like they need that extra $20, $40 more than you and your business need it. I have too much empathy, so I feel bad for the person's situation, right? Is a client discounting and family and friends discounting still both considered emotional discount? It depends on the intention, I would say. Is it Andre? Am I saying that correctly? It really depends on the intention. So yesterday we were talking about, in my stories, I talked about emotional charge, and on the live, I talked about emotional charging, where if you emotionally discount out of kindness and compassion, when really it's just fear of like, what if this person can't afford it, or what if they're going to be mad at me? But you have no problems charging someone full price who you're like, oh, they've got money. That's just as bad. And so even though I want you guys to start charging full price to all your clients, what is the intention behind it? Are you charging someone more, or not more, but like full price because you think they have the money? And what does that say about your integrity as a business owner? Because your service value doesn't change.
So why would someone, and like, even I got a DM from yesterday being like, or can you imagine finding out like you pay less than your friend because your hairstylist or service provider thinks you're poor, right? And like, oh, right, like it's all, we have to stop getting out of people's pockets, because you don't know how much money people have or don't have. You don't know, just because someone doesn't dress super nice doesn't mean they have less money. Just because someone goes on a big vacation doesn't mean they didn't save up for it for years, right? We need to stop assuming. So I would say, if you're feeling resentful, bitter about a discount, or you're feeling like obligated to give a discount, then that's something to check into, because it's generally an emotional discount, I would say. If it's out of obligation, if you've put an expectation on yourself, if you're not communicating it, and if it's not because you're like, I really want to do this, but it's like, oh, I feel bad, or I'm worried about them, then I think you need to check it. I don't want my clients to choose getting their hair done over feeding themselves. Ooh, yeah, Kelly. And do you think people do that? Because I think, so here's a really good story to share with you guys today. I lived in the UK in 2005, 2006. I was 22 years old and I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was working an assistant job in one of the top salons in London, working under the top stylists, some of the top stylists in the world at the time. And I was getting paid £5.50 an hour, which was very minimal, not a living wage. So I would work all day, 9 to 6, and then get on the train, get on the tube, and go to people's homes and cut and color their hair for cash so that I could make money. Hi, boys. Hey, hair industry. And so I remember walking in Covent Garden in London and seeing these boots at Firetrap and being like, oh my God, those leather boots. And you know what? I've since thrown them out and I regret it, because they're probably going to come back in style. But I did this major purge in like 2016 and I threw out all my old CDs. Ugh, anyway, I digress. Talk about like definitely regretting some things. And okay, so I saw these boots and I was like, I really, really want them. They only had one pair of my size left. And I was like, will I regret not getting these boots? And I was like, I will. I will think about them forever. I mean, I now regret throwing them out. And so I bought them and I knew that I wasn't getting paid for another 10 days. And I knew I had no money. Zero. Zilch. Like, I think I had like maybe 15 pounds in my bank account for the next 10 days. And so I chose to buy those leather boots. Can you not hear me? I decided to buy those leather boots and live off of cornflakes. I ate cornflakes every day and raisins for 10 days. And so, hi, Anne. And so what I'm seeing is like, yeah, you're scared of, you don't want your clients to choose between eating and getting their hair done, but they get to make that choice. I chose between getting these leather boots and eating. Can you hear me better now? I have a similar story. When I was an assistant, I forfeited my lunch money for a jacket. Right. And so we as service professionals can't feel guilty. We should feel honored. And like, we can't change people. I mean, a lot of us are very empathetic people, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is going to be maybe some really tough love with Dawn. A lot of us are enablers. Ugh. And enablers actually don't help people. It's like, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Doing something and catering to people's own dysfunction, catering to people's inability to manage their money well by giving them a discount so that they can go spend it on the thing that maybe they shouldn't be, is not helping. And so I'm going to actually do some more research into this, because I think we're not only empathetic people, we convince ourselves we're being empathetic and we care, but really if we cared, we would let people struggle and learn on their own. Ooh, how hard is that one? That's a big pill to swallow. You don't actually care. You're just so uncomfortable watching other people grow and be uncomfortable. You want to take the discomfort away from other people because it's hard for you to watch. Their discomfort of growth makes you uncomfortable. But in reality, I was sharing this with my client magnet students yesterday. When I moved, so I grew up in a small town. I was shy, anxious, awkward, and I always had someone to lean on. Then at 22 years old, I pieced out and moved across the ocean to the UK. I remember crying when I landed, being like, what have I done? I had to find a place to live. I had to find a job. I had to figure out how to open up a bank account, and I had no one to help me. And that year I struggled so hard, and I'm sure it was hard for my mom and my parents to listen and hear about, because they literally could do nothing. And I had no other choice but to lean on myself. And you know what? The person I am, people always say, like, how do I become confident like you? Go through some of the shit I've gone through. Self-inflicted, a lot of it. If you don't struggle, you don't grow. And I would never have known, do you guys love that the IKEA sticker's still on that? I would never have known what I was capable of if I wouldn't have put myself in a position to get uncomfortable. And so if you need to stop emotionally discounting, I know I've gone way off on a tangent, but one, we need to peel back the layers and understand what's underneath it all. What's the motivation? What's keeping you in that place? What's keeping you from pushing into the discomfort of charging full price and getting feedback? And I talk about this thing is I can give you all the scripts, the templates, the how to word things, which is great, but it won't build the confidence in yourself. You can borrow confidence from someone else with a script and a template, and it can be helpful to get you started. But what you really need to learn is to build confidence. And confidence is born from courage and vulnerability. When you show up courageous, and when you step into vulnerability, it used to be really, really scary for me to show up live on the internet with bedhead and no makeup. It doesn't feel vulnerable anymore because I've developed the skill of confidence around it. But it used to take a lot of courage and a lot of vulnerability because every once in a while, some stranger pops into my live and it's like, why would I listen to her? Look at her hair, right? And I was insecure about it. But when you start to consistently show up with courage and vulnerability, charging full price, and you learn, so once you do, and I know the fear is an unpredictable response from your client. It's not that you're not worth it, but there is a deep insecurity that if they say something back, they might prove your insecurity, whether you're charging too much, or maybe you don't feel like, I don't really know how I got my prices. So like if they like say something about like, oh, hairstylists these days charge too much, like you kind of agree with them. And so you're only afraid of an unpredictable response or a combative, confrontational response if you fear that they might be right. And so when you do the steps to make sure, like my perfected price, my perfected profit method helps you break down and understand why you're charging. Because I have had students that have beautiful salons, high-end salons, charging high amounts, but when we broke it down, they were paying themselves less than minimum wage because their costs were so high. And so they either had to figure out a way to pull their costs back or charge more. But if you don't actually understand what you're taking home, you'll feel guilty for charging a certain amount because you have this idea of a certain amount in your head. So you need to develop the skill of confidence. And then when dealing with interactions, you need to have adaptability, improvisation, and a regulated nervous system. This is important because it's not about knowing the exact script and words to say to someone because you have another party involved. There's going to be nuances. They might not say what you expect them to say. You can't be 100% prepared. And you will stay stuck in that spider web of what ifs, right? Like if they say this, then I'll say this. But if they say this, then I say this. And you'll build up so much anxiety around this anticipation of the possibility rather than what I do now is the moment I start going into the spider webs of what ifs, I just jump into the thing that I'm scared of doing. I just start the conversation because I know I'm extremely adaptable. I know I can improvise and I know how to keep my nervous system regulated so I don't become reactive, so I don't respond. So I've learned how to slow down in those conversations. Take deep breaths and not, if something catches me off guard, not say anything right away. And I adapt and I improvise as the conversation happens. So I'm curious, I know I've missed a bazillion comments, but I'm curious if this is helpful to you this morning when stopping emotionally discounting. The fear of an unpredictable response, the fear of hurting someone's feelings, the fear of putting someone you think you're putting them in a bad financial place. But if you have used the pathway, the communication pathway that I teach in the policy pathway, of communicating cost and price ahead of time, your client isn't going to be sticker shocked at the end of their appointment. I don't believe someone should be finding out what their appointment costs at the end. And this is why communication is so important. Clear, compassionate, concise communication. Upfront. And this is why I teach in my consultation process. If I'm curious, if any of you guys want to, if you guys want more about my consultation okay, thanks, Cass. Want more about my consultation process, let me know because the communication starts at the beginning so that the ease comes at the end. And a lot of people are like, well, I didn't have the conversation, so now what I do? That's when you own it and you say, I'm really sorry. I realized I didn't have this conversation with you beforehand and you didn't know what this was going to cost. Moving forward, I'm going to have this conversation with you. You need to take 100% responsibility for yourself and your situation, even if it's not your fault. even if it's not your fault. And so stopping emotionally discounting starts at the beginning of an appointment. Being clear and direct. This is what it's going to cost. This is likely what it's going to be. Does that work for you? If not, then if they say no, then you need to be adaptable. You need to improvise, and you need to have a regulated nervous system. If they're like, well, I just want a haircut today and it was booked for a color, that's something where I've had this exact situation. Someone's booked for a cut and color and come in and they're like, I just need the cut today. And I stayed very calm and I stayed very matter of fact, and I said, absolutely, we can do that. I just want to let you know that that's actually considered a late cancel because you're getting rid of part of your service. And that actually hurts my business. So I can absolutely do the haircut today, but the cost will be the same for the cut and color. How would you like to proceed? Old Dawn would have been like, sure, and then been bitching and complaining and frustrated behind their back because it feels good. We are such people pleasers that we people ask for something and you don't realize you can say no, or you can stand up and just like let them know, like, hey, we won't be able to act, or we can do that, but however, and I know you're stuck in the loop of you give people what you want and then you're frustrated at them walking away when really you're frustrated at yourself. And it's all about developing good, clear boundaries with yourself. Your boundaries are not for other people to understand and tiptoe around. Your boundaries are for you to enforce and communicate. And I know that's hard because we want to be like, well, these are my boundaries. Other people respect them. And when they don't respect them, they don't respect me. And I'm like entitled and like this people should be able to do this. No, that's bullshit. And I wish that's the way the world was. I really do. And that would be really nice. But you will continue to stay frustrated. You will continue to feel taken advantage of. You will continue to feel trapped in the place that you're at in your life and your business. When you start to take 100% wild responsibility over your life and your future, recognizing that you have control, and I know you're a control freak, you have control over it, but you just need to develop the skill of confidence and compassionate communication. When you have those two things, you will move through this and flow through this so much easier, because here's the thing. You can decide on a goal. You can decide I'm going to stop emotionally discounting tomorrow. But when a speed bump, roadblock, or detour shows up, what are you going to do? Because it is in those moments of adversity, of unpredictability, of whatever else that your character shows. It is not best case scenario. Hi, Jenny Roy. It is not always going to be best case scenario. So stop preparing only for best case scenario. Start developing your skill of confidence, which is born from taking courageous action with vulnerability. Continually. Instead of trying to sit in the anxiety of the anticipation of like, well, if I say this, then they do this, and the spider web of thoughts, learn to take messy, immediate, imperfect action. Developing the skills of adaptability, improvisation, and a regulated nervous system, which is what, when you come to my retreats, we do a lot of that. And having the skill of compassionate, generous communication, meaning you assume the best, but it doesn't mean that you put yourself last. I'm curious what has landed best with you this morning so far from what I've shared. And we can go, and if you have any questions, there's a little question mark down here. You can tap on that and put a question and I can bring it up. I'm just going to scroll back on all the comments because I know I missed a lot. I went on a tangent there, but I feel like these like messages, they're like channeled messages. Sometimes people are like, say that again. I'm like, I don't know what I just said. I know someone needed to hear that today. Okay. I gave someone a discount for each appointment because she told me how broke she was. And then she was bragging to me about 6 weeks later that she bought Taylor Swift tickets and was booked for a trip. Exactly. So a lot of people will say they're broke. Case in point, I have a friend who will say like, I'm so broke, but has like 6 rental properties. A lot of people will use the word broke for how much money they have cash in hand, right? And so we need to stop assuming that people saying they're broke and I love that you said this, Tamara, because it's a really good opportunity to be like, people, and your client telling you that she's broke isn't her asking for a discount. And maybe she was implying it. There are people out there that will try to take advantage like that, but they're in your chair. They know that they're showing up to pay. And so we have to stop. It's like this, like we feel like, oh, you know what it is, I think? And this won't be for everyone, but I know this is going to hit home with someone. We are such addicts for validation. We are so addicted to getting validated because we struggle to feel that we're worthy. And so if we can do something kind for someone and they can thank us profusely, it feels really good. And it's not coming from a place of wanting to care for other people. It's coming from a really selfish place of wanting the validation. And a lot of us aren't willing to be that honest with ourselves. And I know that's going to hurt. I mean, that's not going to stick for everyone, but for somebody I know needed to hear that. You're not being kind and compassionate because you care for the other person. Your people pleasing is not that you care for other people. It's for the validation that you're seeking because you struggle to believe that you're worthy and valuable as you are. And so you give, you overgive, you let people take advantage of you. You're hoping they're going to treat you the same back, but they don't, because that's not the way the world works. And when someone has a solid self-worth, self-esteem, and self-confidence, the validation, the affirmation is good and nice, but they don't need it. But when you struggle with self-confidence, when you struggle with your self-worth, when you struggle with your self-esteem, and you struggle to believe and trust in yourself, you outsource that to other people. So then you start doing whatever it takes to go, oh, how can I get their favor? How can I win them over? Like, I have this deep-seated fear that I just want everyone to like me, right? The reality is like, no, I don't want everyone to like me because I am not for everyone. And so it's still good to get validation, but we shouldn't have to it shouldn't cost you. It shouldn't cost you. Validation should not cost you. She did ask for a discount. Okay. And I should have clarified as well. She said she couldn't afford to keep coming, right? And it's like this, like, ooh, I'm scared I'm going to lose a client. It's better to have a client paying me something than no clients at all. And then there's a worth thing. And so, yeah, like learning, like I've had people, so when I learned to develop this skill and like understand my worth and value as a hairstylist and as a human, it's shown up in my business and now like my relationship that I'm in now in like way different ways where I'm like, my current relationship, I'll say this, I remember having this conversation. I'm like, I want you. I don't need you. And that was really hard to say and being like, I'll be sad if this ends. However, this is how I am willing to move forward in a relationship. I remember a client coming in and being like, is there any way that you could do this for a lower cost? And I was like, the way we've discussed, unfortunately not. We can discuss some other options if budget is a thing. And so I don't change my worth, but I will change, like, if this price point is too high, I can't give you this result. And being very clear and matter of fact. And then they're like, oh, okay, I don't know if I can continue to come. Totally understand. Door is always open. And it's like almost like you're playing chicken, because at the end of the day, I know my services are priced fairly and they are priced for me to be able to keep my doors open and serve people for the long term. I am creating a long-term sustainable and profitable business. I am not creating a charity to make people feel good. And so your client, I always believe, like, we sometimes, and I don't think this is you, Tamara, but sometimes we get offended when people ask. There are literally people out there that operate in there's no harm in asking. I've learned to adopt this. I've started developing, I've taken some like negotiation classes, and it's like literally there's no harm in asking. It is on the receiver's end to decide how they answer. And so your client asking for a discount, there's no harm in asking. She's trying to save up for T-Swift tickets. That's a big deal, and a trip. So she's going to ask, I don't know, but this could be a possibility. I'm just going to ask if I can get discounts so it can help me save a little bit better. And then it's on you to be like, I can't, unfortunately. Okay, I don't know if I can continue to come. I understand. Know that the door is always open. Or if you want to look at some different possibilities to keep your budget tighter and continue to come, let's discuss that. But we can't get offended at someone asking. We do get offended a lot. I see it happen. It's like we think someone asking for a discount is a slap in the face. It's like some people, like, it's like when you go buy a car, you can negotiate. There's places and times, yeah, but also we can't get offended at people asking. It's worth a shot. It's really worth a shot, right? I literally just I was like working with a contract, and I was like, is there any way that we could, I'm willing to meet you in the middle, but is there any way that there's any wiggle room in this contract? And then all of a sudden I was able to get a little bit more cash. That hit hard. Thank you, Dawn. You're welcome, Jenny. This topic always reminds me of you. I have drilled it in my head that I have to cut down emotional pricing. Every time I stand my ground, your words echo in my head. Oh, I love that, Renee. I've got my Boston hat over there. I was wearing it yesterday. Thanks, Renee, for sending that. You guys, can I just say, when you guys send me gifts, like, I don't even know what to do. Like, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Renee, so I was wearing a New York hat when I got my black eye a few months ago, and Renee's like, no, she's like, sent me a Boston hat. Some people just think it's a negotiation. And here's the thing is, like, you need to be so confident. You need to be confident in what you're charging, that when someone asks for a discount, or when someone says, whoa, that's more than I thought, or when someone says, like, hey, service providers these days charge too much, you have to have the confidence to be like, I understand. Because if you're insecure about your pricing, and if you haven't communicated the pricing clearly using the pathway, then you're going to waver and you're going to feel caught off guard. You need to you need to be attracting ideal clients. That's what I'm teaching the client magnet right now. Then you need to have a clear pathway of communication that I teach inside of my policy pathway that shows people what their price is so they agree to it ahead of time. And then you need to develop the skill of confidence around your pricing so that when someone pushes back against it, you don't waver. And this is why, you guys, a lot of you guys know about my program, Rock Your Business, which encompasses all my things. And right now I am restructuring everything and breaking things apart, and we're going deeper on each subject. So you can still get in the client magnet if you want to. The community is bumping and it's so amazing. And I mean, Tamara, you already got 4 new clients. I think the energy you guys are showing up with, it's definitely changing, and it's attracting, you're creating that magnetism of the right clients to you. Next month, I'm going to be diving into the policy pathway, and we're going to go into how to learn how to have compassionate upfront communication around your policies, your pricing, your schedule, so that when those bumps come, when that person pushes back, you have that confidence in your communication. Hi, Diane. In how you have talked to your clients. It's going to remove a lot of pushback, but then if and when it happens, you don't waver. You can quit that emotional discounting. Then we're going to go into the perfected profit method that is going to break down for all the non-numbers people and all of us creatives how to set your prices fairly for you and your client and communicate it with confidence. It's going to be really amazing. And so the whole Rock Your Business system is shifting, and I'm really, really excited for it. And then alumni that have bought Rock Your Business previously, you can get into these containers at an alumni rate. And so if anyone's interested in still popping into the client magnet, DM me. And if you're interested in getting into the policy pathway for next month, the early bird's going to start really soon here. And it's going to be, you'll get access to all the previous trainings. And then as well as you'll get the group when we go into the group, and all the new trainings that are coming. It's really, really going to be amazing. So needed this today. I'm curious. So what has been the biggest aha for you this morning? I want to know. What's your number one takeaway from this live? Also, both my dogs are downstairs and I'm kind of feeling like they don't love me. And I'm going to pull a card. I'm not a huge tarot person. You guys like my outfit? People sometimes think it's like my messiness is put on. No, it's like real. And I'll stay in these clothes all day. I'm responsible. Oh, Tamara, that's a good one. Okay. And I'm going to pull a card for all of you guys. What do you need to hear today? Woo. Is that it? Is that the one? Kelly, are you in here still? Is it that easy? I'm responsible. What else? Oh, I can't even look at, oh no, I can get my laptop. Hold on, you guys. I was like, I always look up the meaning of the card on my phone. Yes, that's the one. Okay, and it's in reverse. Yikes. Sometimes the reverse ones scare me. I hope my laptop's not dead. What else did you guys learn? Let me know. While I'm looking up this card, I want to know what's the biggest takeaway from this call this morning. I also don't have my glasses on. Sorry. Does anyone else sing song they're talking sometimes? My boundaries are for me to enforce and protect myself, not the other way around. Boom. Yes, I love it. Oops, maybe if I spelled goddess, right? Goddess Tarot. This is my first tarot deck that I ever bought, and it fell in the toilet once, and they're like, treat it really well. I'm like, oh, come on. I just want the meaning of the card, you guys, and I feel like the more I'm on live, the more pressure I put on myself. I know it's in my bookmarks. Where do I find my bookmarks? Guys, okay. It's a great reminder. You were cleansing it. I love it. Bookmark manager. Okay. I know how to find it on my phone. Isn't that funny? Okay, here we go. So, did nobody else learn anything? Is it just 2 people? I'm responsible and my boundaries are for me to enforce and protect. What else did you guys take away? Honestly, knowing what you took away helps me create better education for you, helps me show up on these lives better for you. Okay, so let's go. Why isn't this opening? Did you guys, were you on my live yesterday where I was like the double chin queen? It was like as I was carrying stuff down. So I pulled a major arcana, which I don't really understand what that means, but I don't know that much about it. But I asked the deck, what did you guys need to hear? And I got the Strength card reversed. And like I said, I'm not like big into tarot, but it says clearly distinguishing between your ego and your intuitive self. Oh, and you know what? Emotional discounting is so ego. A lot of times we think ego as an egotistical and overconfident, but what I always tell you, your insecurities, you playing small is your ego telling you that you're not worth it. Your ego is so sly and so sneaky and manipulative that it tells you that you're being a kind person by emotionally discounting when really it is totally sabotaging you. You're a big deal. You can do hard things. Don't let your ego convince you that you're not worthy. The insecurity is the number one sign that ego has a hold of you. Confidence shows me that your ego isn't in the driver's seat. That's why the card jumped out. Okay, so it was reversed. So do you guys want me to read like all the meanings or just the reverse meaning? I'll start with the reversed meaning. So the Strength reversed meaning says, the Strength card reversed suggests that you are in a position where you have little power to affect behavior. No amount of modeling, persuasion, or leadership will affect the out of control, untamed force that is set loose. Subtleties are overlooked, and the inducements which have served in the past to award order may meet with scorn. You may have to lay low and do what you can to preserve yourself and let this upside down time blow over. Interesting. So in the advice position, I don't know what even that means, but I always go to like, what advice is it giving me? The Strength card advises you that you assertively discipline yourself and separate your interest from enlightened wisdom. Deliberately identify with your intuition, even if it works against the desires of your willful ego. I'm going to say that means work hard with your intuition to charge fully in this case, rather than that feeling like you're supposed to give a discount because you desire that favor, that reward, that validation from your client. And hi, Sam. And you need to work against that and stand up for yourself and your intuition of, I need to start charging. Demand and expect the same from others who have some power in the situation. So demand and expect, I think like demand, like you have to stand up and be clear and direct in order to get and demand that respect back. You can't expect other people to be able to show up and be like, no, I'll pay full price, right? People, you're running a business. This isn't a friendship. This is a business, and people only pay you what you charge them. So demand and expect the same from others who have some power in this situation. You cannot challenge them to live to a higher standard if you yourself have not yet done so. You can't expect them to pay full price if you're not willing to charge full price. Influence others by setting an example of integrity. Your self-esteem will increase to the degree that you succeed in your efforts. Holy shit. Your self-esteem will increase to the degree that you succeed in your efforts. Your self-esteem will, you keep waiting that when I'm confident, then I will. That's not how confidence works. It's I will do and then I will be. Right? Oh my God, I just saw this. I lost a 30-year client last week because of this, because of emotional discounting. Yeah, and here's the thing, like people will come and go. And people who benefited from you not having boundaries will be the ones that are most upset with it. But you can still communicate it with kindness, compassion, empathy. So one example I like to use is, so if you've been giving someone a discount for a really long time and maybe they don't even know they've been on a discount, hey, I owe you an apology. I've realized that I've been giving you a discount or I've been keeping you on old prices and not even telling you. And my prices have actually increased quite a bit over the last few years. And I haven't told you because one, I really love having you in. And I was actually afraid that my price increase might lose you as a client. But what I've realized is that I haven't been running my business like a business. And in order for me to be able to make and sustain a livable wage is that I need to bring out all my clients onto my current pricing. And this is a really hard conversation because one, I haven't told you about my price increases, so you aren't even aware of what I currently charge. And two, I'm scared that by telling you what my prices are now, that I'll lose you as a client. And I'm really struggling with the possibility of not seeing you as regularly anymore because I really enjoy our time together. But what I've realized is I've let my emotions get in my way of my business insight. And so know that these are my current prices. And I'm not saying like, you want to have it more conversational, right? You don't want to assume that they're leaving. But like, I understand if this isn't feasible for you, or if they're like, I can't come, like, I totally understand. Know that you'll be missed. Know that I'd love if you just like popped by and said hi. But I have to do what's best for my business right now. And this has been so hard. But just know that this isn't a sign of how much I care for you. Is that helpful? Taking ownership. If people don't know that they're getting a discount, how can they be thankful for it? And if someone asks for a discount, developing that skill of confidence in yourself of going, oh, so whenever you feel, here's a quick tip, quick free coaching with Dawn. I mean, those of you guys that are in my paid programs, those of you guys that haven't been in my paid programs and are getting something from this, just imagine what my paid programs are like. If and when you have that knee-jerk reaction to say yes, like you feel so obligated to say yes to things with people, you oftentimes say yes when you shouldn't because you're a people pleaser through and through. Learn to not commit in the moment. And so what I've learned to say is, I really want to say yes. I just need to take some time. I don't want to commit to something I can't follow through on. Know that I really want to say yes. And then when you're delivering a no, say, I really, really want to be able to say yes to this. Know that. Or like, I always think of like someone bringing in a picture of hair that's like completely unattainable. And I used to go, yeah, absolutely. Because I didn't know. I thought they'd think I was incompetent rather than like, that's totally not doable. And then I'd go back to the color room and be like, pray to the hair color gods and science to change. Right. And I would say yes in the beginning. And then I would like hope that like something magically would happen. And then I'd be backpedaling at the end. Right. And so learning to say, hey, I really like that idea. I don't know if that's achievable today. And I'm worried that you're going to think I'm incompetent. But the reality is if someone else is willing to say that they could get that. I remember a client being like, I went and got a blow up by this girl and she said she could get me blonde in one appointment. I said, amazing. If she feels confident that she can get you blonde without damaging your hair, go see her. I don't feel confident that I could do that. Integrity is really important. Integrity is more important than pleasing the person in the short term. Know that. You'll actually please someone more. And here's the thing is if you actually want to be a people pleaser, because you're not a people pleaser, you're a people disappointer. And your people pleasing isn't people pleasing, it's controlling, it's manipulation. Your people pleasing is actually manipulation. You're trying to manipulate a predictable response from someone. And so if you truly want to shift into a people pleaser, you're okay with disappointment for the good of the person. Make sense? Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. You're okay with being honest and having integrity, saying, I really want to say yes to that request. I know that budget is tight right now and you're trying to save money and you'd like a discount. I really want to say yes. Unfortunately, I don't have any wiggle room in my prices to be able to give a discount and be able to meet my financial needs in my business. Learning to have clear, compassionate communication is key. And this is everything that we're going to be going through in the policy pathway, learning how to communicate clearly, directly, and upfront. And that starts with your consultations. I'm actually going to be coming out, I think this is me like committing to something before I'm even finished it. It's going to be called the Consultation Cure and how to revolutionize your consultations that create clients having way more respect and paying full price. If you guys would be interested in I don't even want to make it if it's not something that you're interested in. The Consultation Cure, it's going to walk you through my hair method of how I go through my consultations with my clients that develops trust, respect, loyalty, and authority, has clients showing up, offering to pay for late cancels, and paying full price. Sign me up. The consultation. Yeah, it's going to be like it'll be more like a workshop, I think. Maybe I should just do it next week. I got to take I'm embodying messy media imperfect action for you guys. So if you guys are interested in the Consultation Cure, let me know, shoot me a DM. And what I think I'll do is I'll have like a live workshop and then the replay will be available and we'll teach you exactly how I walk through it. Plus you'll get my consultation form. It'll be really, really great. Okay. I got to go get to work and make the Consultation Cure because I think a few of you guys are interested. And basically the Consultation Cure will lead into the policy pathway. The policy pathway will be more in depth. So I'll let you guys know, shoot me a DM if you're interested. And again, you've got what it takes. You have everything you need. You're doing a good job. You're worthy of the respect that you crave, first and foremost, from yourself. All right, friend, stay weird, and I'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast and for tuning into Business Breakfast and Bedhead. Like I said, I would love for you to join me live on these over on Instagram. So once again, just look up Dawn Bradley and let's connect. Shoot me a DM, send me a screenshot, tag me in your stories of listening to this or what you took away from this. Those comments, that feedback really makes my day and helps me know that these things are landing and that you want to hear more. I do these lives and I do this podcast for you to help you, and your feedback means the world to me. And if you enjoyed this episode, help me spread the love. Share it with a friend, a coworker, family member, or leave a review. And make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Until then, friend, stay weird.